The author says, starting with the word of Allah, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون. And recall when we rescued you from Pharaoh's people. So here in the Quran, Allah addresses the Jews. Allah addresses the Jews here in the ayah. The address here and henceforth is directed to those living at the time of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The point is about how God blessed their forefathers, and it's intended to remind them of God's grace so that they might believe. That's according to Jalalain. And also, why are they being addressed as if they were there? Because it says, when we rescued you, and it means when we rescued your forefathers. Because they attribute themselves to their forefathers. They see themselves as the same people. So, وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ, and when we rescued you. So when, and when, what? When what? There should be a verb here. So the implication is remember. And remember, recall, when we rescued you. Min ali fir'aun, from the people of Pharaoh, from Pharaoh's people. Those were the Copts, C-O-P-T-S. The Copts are the indigenous Egyptians. They're not Arabs. And they're not Hebrews or something else. They're called in Arabic Qibط, Al-Qibط. But if you see them, you might think they were Arabs, but they're not Arabs. They're a different tribe. They are descendants of Ham, the son of Noah. The Copts are descendants of Ham, the son of Noah. The Arabs are descendants of Sam, the son of Noah. Musa, he's a Hebrew. Yani, he's an Israelite. So that means he's a descendant of Jacob. Yaqub alayhi salatu wassalam. And Jacob, he is Israel. Moses then, he is Israelite, or one might say Hebrew in terms of race. Alayhi salatu wassalam. Yasumunakum su'al adhab, targeting you for persecution of the worst kind. يذبحون أبناءكم ويستحيون نساءكم, massacring your sons and sparing your women. Massacring your sons, yani slaughtering your newborn sons. They did so because of what some fortune tellers said to the Pharaoh, that a child born amongst the Israelites shall bring about the end of his rule. Yani, why they told him that? Because of a nightmare that he had. So they explained it for him. And how is it, though, that their explanation of his dream is accurate? What we learned is that the dream interpretation, we take it from the prophets and the saints only. These people are kuffar. How do they have an accurate dream interpretation here? Because when it comes to the signs of prophethood, Allah made the signs of prophethood come from all directions. So the signs of prophethood showed up for the fortune tellers, for the dream interpreters, yani those who read the stars, and whoever else has something to do with something. Massacring your sons and sparing your women. So how were they massacring their sons? By the command of the Pharaoh. He, after this dream was explained for him, he put officers on the midwives being the women who help the other women deliver. Their job is to help women deliver their babies. He put officers over them to ensure that any time a boy was born, that he would be killed. And he did that until they almost ran out of slaves, because they enslaved the Israelites. And how the Israelites got into this situation here, because a vicious, evil pharaoh came into power. The pharaohs, that's a political party. They came into power sometime after Yusuf, alayhi salatu wassalam. This pharaoh was an especially evil one, and he hated the Israelites. He made them second-class citizens. In fact, he made them slaves, and he put the Copts over them. The Israelites, their population in Egypt was over 1 million by this time. You know how they got into Egypt? When Yusuf commanded his brothers to bring their family to Egypt, from Palestine to Egypt. That's part of the story of Yusuf. Won't go into the detail there. So Yusuf, he commanded his brothers to bring their family to Egypt. They were more than 70 at that time. By the time Moses appeared, by the time of Moses, which was the time of this pharaoh, that pharaoh was old though. Yani, he was like 400 years old, and he never got sick, as it was said. So he claimed to be God. There were over 1 million of those Israelites. So he enslaved them, and then at some point he started massacring their sons. Until they complained that they were about to run out of slaves. So then he made a decree to kill the Israelite boys every other year. They would massacre them 1 year and spare them 1 year. Then massacre them 1 year, then spare them 1 year. As for the females, they kept them alive, and they kept them for service. So they had women like all over. An indication of that is in the story of Moses when his basket drifted down the river. Who found his basket? The slave women. There was women down the river, up and down the riverbank. Slave women. So they took the basket to Pharaoh's wife. So that's what they were doing. They were killing the boys and keeping the females alive. Targeting you for persecution of the worst kind. Massacring your sons and sparing your women. وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَّبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. And in that was a trial from your Lord, one severe. In that, فِي ذَلِكُمْ, in what? What's that? So that could be the su' al-adhab, the persecution. Or that could be the being rescued. وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ, when we rescued you. وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ, in that rescue was a trial from your Lord. Or يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ, targeting you for persecution of the worst kind. وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ, and in that was a trial from your Lord. مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ, وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ. And recall when we parted the sea for you. So this word إِذْ means when. So you see the translation here has recall in parentheses. وَاذْكُرْ اذْكُرُوا اذْكُرُوا إِذْ. Remember or recall when. And when we parted the sea for you to rescue you from your enemy, and thus we saved you. Uh, and how was that? Was that at some point Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he organized the Israelites to all leave in the night while the Egyptians were asleep. So when it was time, they all started leaving. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. And some people, he tagged along. They had some stragglers tagged along, some people who were not Israelites. Amongst them was the one who's called Musa Samiri. He was a wizard. He went with the Israelites. He crossed the sea with them. And amongst them, he was an Israelite, and he was a Muslim until he committed apostasy. Amongst those who were with them was Qarun, Moses, the cousin of Moses. The wealthy person, the one that Allah made the earth swallow him and his entourage and his palace. All of that stories for another time. But just to fill in some things for you, if perhaps you heard of them or shall hear of them. Uh, and how was that? So they left at night with Moses until they got to the sea, the Red Sea. Then they were just there. Yani, they didn't have a boat. But at some point, Pharaoh was alerted to their, what they call exodus, their mass departing, their mass departure. Talking here, Yani, thousands and thousands of people leaving at the same time. The Pharaoh was alerted to their exodus. So when that happened, then he mobilized his army. He had a massive army. And he delivered a speech to them. And amongst what he told them was, those Israelites, they offend us. Yani, and their mission was to wipe them out. They were going to do a complete genocide, kill all of them. So they went after them. So then the Israelites were at the seashore without a ship. So they didn't see where they're gonna go. And then they saw the massive army of over 1 million in the horizon coming after them. When they saw that, they said, "Inna lamudrakun, we're caught." And Moses said, "Kalla, definitely not. Inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdin. My Lord supports me. He shall guide me." So they were scared, and Moses was trying to calm them down. They were crying. And then, so the army drew near. Both parties could see each other. Both groups could see each other. Then when the army got to a certain distance, then That's when Allah commanded Moses to strike the sea with his staff. So I don't know that Moses had any knowledge of how they were going to escape this. But I do know that he was confident and his faith was unshaken. That's what he told them. Kalla, no, we are not caught. Inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdeen. My Lord is with me, meaning he supports me, and he shall guide me. So the army drew near to them, and at some point, Allah commanded Moses to strike the sea with his staff. So he struck the sea with his staff, and when he did so, the sea parted into 12 pathways. It's interesting how, when we learn the stories of the prophets, according to our religion, in comparison to what the Jews and the Christians say, not only do we have more details to those stories, but also it's more amazing than what they say. Because for the Jews and Christians, the sea parted was just one pathway. That's what they ever depict. Just one pathway. Really was 12 pathways. That's amazing. There were mountains of water standing up without a barrier, without a wall, or without some solid partition to separate the waters. And the ground was dry. When that happened, and the Israelites were so happy, then they started pouring into those pathways. So then that's what they did. That's how they crossed the sea. I told you Qarun was with them, this wealthy one. He had all his money with him. He had men who were carrying his money for him. And he needed many strong men just to carry the keys to his riches. Just the keys only. So he brought all of that over across the sea with him. Yani, then maybe we'll see his story another time. It's not in Surah Al-Baqarah though. Where's the story of Qarun? I don't remember at the moment. Which surah? So they crossed the sea. They got to the other side. And so there was the sea between the Pharaoh's army and the Israelites. And the Pharaoh was at first hesitant to go in there. And when Moses got to the other side, he wanted to close the sea. He knew that the way to close the sea was to strike it again with the staff and then it will close. So he was about to strike it again, and Allah revealed to him, وَاتْرُكِ الْبَحْرَ رَهْوًا, leave the sea open, O Moses. Yani, until Allah reveals it to him. And in this is an indication that it's possible for a prophet to wield a miracle at will. Because he knew if he strikes the sea, it's going to close. So that's what he was about to do. And Allah revealed to him, wait. So he waited. And who was with the Israelites also? Angel Gabriel. He was with the Israelites on a horse. He was crossing with them. And it was a female horse, a mare. I think a female horse is called a mare. It was his horse that made Pharaoh's horse go in. Yani Pharaoh's horse took him in because he saw that other horse, the female. And then Pharaoh's army went in. And when Pharaoh saw that, he saw the sea split. He knew, he already knew. He already knew. He had been known. Yani had the dream. And then for years, Moses was in his presence, doing all of what he was doing, defying him, defeating him, converting the people of Egypt, dismantling his religion. He knew. When he saw that sea split, he knew even more. He was so stubborn. He was such a staunch kafir. He would not believe. And actually, this scared him when he saw that sea split. And he was scared of Moses in reality, too. So his horse took him in, and then his army followed him. So then they went in. So once they were in, before they got to the other side, then Allah revealed to him, now strike the sea, Moses. So he struck it, and that's when it closed in on him. So they saw that water coming in on them, then swept them up. And then they were drowning. And the Israelites were watching that. So, وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ. And recall when we parted the sea for you, to rescue you from your enemy, and thus we saved you. وَأَغْرَقْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. And we drowned Pharaoh's people while you were watching, until the sea closed in on them. And then the Pharaoh himself, right before he drowned, he said, I believe in the God of the Israelites. This was not accepted from him. The whole time he knew, and it wasn't until he was sure he was going to die that he tried to profess to his faith. He wanted to believe in what he knew to be true. He wanted to accept what he knew to be true. But Allah does not accept for a person to embrace Islam when he is certain of his own death. There are times when embracing Islam is not valid. One of them is when you see the angel of death. If you see the angel of death, then you cannot, if you did say the Shahada at that moment, it won't be valid. Or while your soul is coming out. If you manage to say the Shahada while your soul is coming out, it's not valid. Or when you are certain of death. Not certain. Not talking about like, what if somebody stuck you up, put a gun to your side? So you said the Shahada. Not here. Rather, like in the Pharaoh's case. When you are certain of death, then your Shahada will not be accepted. And also when the sun rises from the west, no one's repentance will be accepted. So he drowned as a kafir, the Pharaoh. And the Israelites, they were great cowards. They were still scared. Even though they saw him drown, they were still scared. So Moses prayed to Allah Ta'ala to show them Pharaoh's corpse. So Allah made his body wash ashore, puffy. His puffy corpse washed ashore. And they recognized him by his armor, because he had special armor. Then what happened? Then they went back into Egypt. They took their money, and then they came back out. Went back into Egypt, took the Egyptians' money, and then they came back out of Egypt. And Moses took them where? To the promised land. What's the promised land? That's Palestine. وَإِذْ وَاعَدْنَا مُوسَى 40 لَيْلَةً. But he did take them to the promised land. But what happened there, just to give you a heads up, It's not in this surah also. When they got there, it wasn't free, meaning they had to fight for it. But who was living there? The colossal tyrants, yani giants. There were giants there with very powerful bodies. When they knew there were giants there, they were too scared to fight. They said, Moses, there are tyrant folk living there, and we shall never enter that land as long as they are there. And if they come out without a fight, then we will go in. So you and your Lord go fight. We will be sitting right here. So that's Yani. The story of Moses is detailed, and the story of Moses is the most detailed story in the Quran, dispersed throughout different surahs. And Moses is the most frequently mentioned prophet in the Quran. Mhm. Despite that, there is no surah in the Quran called Surah Musa. Isn't there Surah Muhammad, Surah Luqman, Surah Maryam, and what else? Surah Al Imran, Surah Bani Israel. There's no Surah Musa, Surah Nuh, Surah Hud, Surah Yusuf. Uh, this is a proof that the names of the surahs. This is a proof that the names of the surahs are by revelation, not by ijtihad. The scholars talked about this. They said, are the names of the surahs are by revelation? The Prophet taught them, or this ijtihad on the part of the scholars? They said by revelation. Okay, then وَإِذْ وَاعَدْنَا مُوسَى 40 لَيْلَةً. And when we promised Moses an appointment, yani recall, when we promised Musa an appointment, 40 nights, after which we would give him the Torah to practice. Yani Moses had told his people, Allah will reveal a book to me. So at some point, the people said to him, Oh Moses, bring us the book that you promised us. So he asked his Lord, and then his Lord gave him an appointment, a retreat, a 40-night retreat. He left them, he left Aaron in charge of them, and he went for his appointment. Uh, so, وَإِذْ وَعَدْنَا مُوسَى 40 لَيْلَةً. It was said that he fasted for 30 days, alayhi salatu wassalam, and then after that, he used the siwak to clean his mouth. Then it was revealed to him, O Moses, don't you know that the smell of the fasting person's breath is better to Allah than musk? So he was commanded to fast for 10 more days. So that's 40 days, yani 40 nights. Fasting is for the daytime though. 40 nights with their days. You don't fast at nighttime. And then Allah revealed the Torah to him on tablets. And it was said these tablets were made of emerald or some green stone, some other green stone. Or it was also said they were revealed on wood from paradise. And they were huge. And it was during this retreat that Moses asked Allah to see him. And he was not granted that. All of that is in Surah Al-A'raf. The details of that. ثم اتخذتم العجل من بعده وأنتم ظالمون. Then you took the calf as an object of worship in his absence, while you were unjust for taking it in worship, unjust to yourselves, because you directed your worship the wrong way. So I need to pray Asr. If you want to hold on, let me pray Asr, and then we can continue a little longer. Or if you want, we'll stop here. What say you?
I'll leave that up to the system.
Would it be okay if we did call it a night for today, please?
That works for me. طيب بارك الله فيكم وجزاكم الله خيرا.